What the heck does turf toe actually mean? Because even though it doesn't sound any more serious than a rash, it's actually one of the most severe injuries in the NFL that no one seems to know anything about. Let me explain. See, back in the late 1960s, the NFL saw the introduction of artificial turf in places like Houston and Philadelphia. Now, back then, this AstroTurf style was basically a thin layer of carpet laid over literal concrete, which meant that it was far less forgiving than natural grass. And while players started complaining about the types of serious season-ending injuries this new playing surface caused, like ACL tears and increased concussions, there was one injury on the rise that didn't get as much attention. See, the term turf toe was first coined by two researchers at the University of West Virginia in 1976, when they noticed the alarming increase of a new type of injury, primarily in athletes who played on artificial turf fields, in which their cleats would get stuck in the hard turf, causing a hyperextension in the ligament that connects their big toe to the rest of their foot. And while this still may sound fairly mild, it's actually a lot more serious than the name lets on. Because if you think about it, when an athlete is running, their big toe is the last part of their body to leave the ground. But if it gets caught in the turf, then all of an athlete's body weight is put onto that one toe. Not to mention, when a professional athlete is moving on the field, they could be putting up to 8 times their body weight in force onto their ligaments, which is the equivalent of about 2,000 pounds of weight being put onto a single toe. Now, since turf toe is technically an injury to a ligament, it's graded on a 1 to 3 scale, with a grade 1 injury being a mild strain that will heal after 3 to 4 weeks of rest and rehab, and a grade 3 injury being a total tear that requires surgical repair. Otherwise, the athlete could suffer from permanent arthritis, which could threaten their career, or worse, their ability to ever walk normally again. But maybe the part of this deep dive that surprised me the most is the fact that we actually know how to reduce turf toe injuries, which up to 45% of NFL players have suffered throughout their career. But the owners are just too cheap to do anything about it, because after looking at the 40-year history of the injury, researchers found that 83% of all turf toe injuries occur on artificial turf fields. However, even with the data staring them directly in the face, over half of the league still has to play their games on fake grass because it's better for business. At least now you know why Joe Burrow is going to be out for the next 3 months.